Stampin' friends, it's Judy Klock here at Stampin' with Crafty Klock. Happy Thursday. It's 7:30 and it's time for another Stampin' with Crafty Klock Facebook Live. I'm so happy that you're here tonight. So today I was playing with the new soft pastels. I don't know if you saw these on page 126 in the catalog, but years ago, like I'm talking maybe 20 years ago, Stampin' Up! Had like that great big set. It was like a square box with little tiny squares of like chalk or pastel colors. And that was great, but it was very expensive and I don't really think people really knew what to do with it a lot. So this time they've come out with these soft pastels, which if you've never worked with them, they're kind of fun to work with. And there's a couple of different ways that you can use them. And we're going to talk about that tonight. But let me show you these. So they come in like these sticks, and the colors are Daffodil Delight, Mango Melody, Poppy Parade, Gorgeous Grape, Mossy Meadow, Coastal Cabana, Granny Apple Green, and this they're calling Night of Navy. I know it kind of looks like Pacific Point, but it's not quite that bright when it goes on. But there's just a different, it's just a different way of coloring. And I've done some samples here. So I picked the same three colors. I just want to show you the difference. So this is done with just ink. This is our classic Stampin' pads in Mossy Meadow, Poppy Parade, and Daffodil Delight. And that was just using these classic stamping pads. So you can get, that's one way to achieve that look. You can use Stampin' blends. Again, the light and dark Mossy Meadow, Poppy Parade, and Mango Melody. And you can see it's a little bit lighter. You can get some subtle shading in there with the light and dark Stampin' blends. Then this was done with the with Versamark and just using a sponge dauber to dab the colors on. You can just either go right on the color and get that on, or if you have a piece of scrap paper, which I thought I would have, you can just lay down some color like that, get like some chalk dust like that, and then take it and daub it on. Not going to stick now because it's dry, but you get the idea. So very, very subtle, very soft colors doing it that way. The other way you can do it is, again, same colors, Poppy Parade, Mossy Meadow, and Mango Melody. And this was taking the chalk dust and applying it with a Stampin' blends. Where is it? So I don't know where my Stampin' blend was. I just had it. Here it is. So I would just take pick up a little bit of this color and then just lay it over my stamped image. So those are just some of the ways that you can use with working with these pastels. I'm going to show you a couple of other ways too. Now this way, I'm still waiting for this to dry because I just added the white snow. But this is a piece of watercolor paper. I spritzed it with our Stampin' Mister. And then I just took the pastels, and I just kind of laid down the colors. So I went from light to dark. I wanted to try to get it to look like sunset, a night sky that's coming in. So, of course, I laid down from lightest to darkest. So I laid down Daffodil Delight, Mango Melody, Poppy Parade, Night of Navy, and then, of course, the Gorgeous Grape. And then I just blended. I actually just blended it with my finger. I wouldn't recommend doing our blending brushes. I think it would take too long. So I would recommend either using a Stampin' sponge, a sponge dauber, or again, just your finger. And I kind of went like straight up and down, and I kind of made some circles and smoothed it out. And I kind of like the way that looks. So that's going to be backed on a piece of Night of Navy. And I just kind of liked the way that kind of popped to make that background really stand out. So as soon as that, and that's just white craft ink. I just put some white craft ink on a block and took the back end of a paintbrush and just kind of dabbed it and dabbed on my snowflakes. So as soon as that dries, I'll finish putting that card together. But the two we're going to work on tonight, one is going to be working with our embossing folders and our pastels. So this is the Evergreen Forest. Forget what it's called, but anyway, you know what, the ones with all the pine trees. And that's one. And then we're going to actually just color with it. Just take those pastels and just color with them right onto our image and then just kind of go over it lightly with our Stampin' blends. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let me put these away. So again, just to show you somehow the different colors, same colors, and how they look different in all the different mediums. Let me just get this out of our way and let me just make sure that my work surface is clean and free of pastel dust. Okay, because you don't want to get it. It does, you know, if you're working with them, I would seriously recommend, you know, wiping off your hands in between each color because, you know, they do get on your fingers. All right, so let's get started. So here we have our embossed cardstock. This is basic white. It is 3 3/4 by 5. And I'm just going to take my Mossy Meadow pastel and I'm just going to kind of just rub it right over that embossed image. So I embossed it earlier. And again, you know, kind of go up and down and side to side and just lay down as much color as you think you want. Okay. Then I just took a little bit of Mango Melody and I just kind of, I wanted some of that gorgeous yellow tint in there. So I just kind of laid down another little level of color. And I'm just going to kind of flick off any extra. Let me clean up my work surface. Okay, now, this is so easy. All I did was I took a baby wipe and I just kind of wiped it over that to give it that washed out watercolor look. That's all it is. Again, you don't have to do it a lot, just a little bit. Just kind of spread that color out. And that's going to give you that gorgeous kind of watercolor look to that paper. Now this will take a bit of time to dry. So I actually did one earlier and hopefully it is dry by now. And it is. So now we're ready to go. You can see I got a little bit of gorgeous scrape on there because I didn't clean my work surface, but that's okay. So we're going to go ahead. I have to cut this down to 3 3/4 by 5. So just let me trim this down. Okay. So did everybody take advantage of the free shipping today? I hope so. I got to go up and put my order in after I'm done here. Okay. So I just got that done. So now we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to mount this on a piece of early espresso. And this is again 4 by 5 1/4. And I am going to use, because this was wet, it's going to crinkle a little bit. So I am going to use some Tombow to make sure that I can get a good, make sure it sticks really well. I don't want it pulling up because, you know, when it's wet, you know, the paper tends to curl just a little bit. So we're just going to lay that down here. And again, remember to leave me some way of knowing that you're here, a comment, a like, anything, because I will enter you in for a drawing to win the 2 cards that we're going to make tonight. Okay, so that was, how simple was that? Kind of simple, right? Okay, now before we put it onto our background of Mossy Meadow, again, standard 8 1/2, 5 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. I want to take my twine and I want to wrap it around here. And again, that's just, I'm kind of still in the mode of trying to work on more masculine cards. I don't really do enough of those. I just find them challenging for some reason, and I don't know why. Hey, Carrie, how are you? Thanks for joining. All right, let me pull out. I thought I had my reverse tweezers out. Here they are. All right. So I want to make sure I kind of get this kind of tight, and I'm going to pull it around and tie it around both pieces of string on there. I'm just going to use my reverse tweezers. I just want to make sure. See, I don't want this to be too loose. I want to make sure I get this kind of tight. Okay, not as tight as I would like, but it'll have to do. There we go. And now I'm just going to tie it in one little knot. There we go. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and just add some Stampin' Seal, and we're going to put that on our card base. Again, I think this is a pretty good masculine card. I think it's not too foofy. Hey, Patty, how are you tonight? You ready for bingo on Saturday, Patty? Okay. Then I took our Label Me Fancy punch and I just punched out a little piece out of basic white. And I took the Happy Birthday sentiment from the Handsomely Suited set, and we're just going to stamp that onto our block. And I'm going to use, I was going to use Mossy Meadow if I can find it. I put it off to the side so that I would find it later, and of course now I can't find it. So we're just going to drop back and we are just going to stamp this in Memento. Perfectly fine to do it in Memento. Okay. Oh my goodness, sometimes the glare from the lights is a little bit much. Okay. So there we go, we have that. And then we're just gonna pop that on there with some dimensionals. Now, I know it's a small little one, but because it's going to go on that string and I really wanna make sure that it's going to hold well, I'm actually going to put 4 on there. I know it might seem like overkill, and you can use the minis if you want, but trust me, when I didn't use the 4, it really kind of wobbled. So there we go, we have a happy birthday to you. I'm just gonna kind of trim these little ends of my thread. And there you have it, card number 1. All right, that was fast, kind of easy, right? And again, very easy with those watercolors, just kind of rub it over the embossed part. And then I just took a baby wipe to it to kind of give it that, like I said, that watercolor look. All right, card number 2, again, fairly easy. I love this little stamp set, back on your feet. I think it's just so cute. So I'm using, for my base, I'm using the thick basic white, again, 8.5, 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. To that, I'm going to add a piece of Designer Series paper, and this is from that Beauty of Friendship Designer Series paper, and I forget, what's it called? It's called Beauty of the Earth Designer Series paper. And then what I did was I ran it through the Big Shot with those Stitched with Whimsy dies, and kind of just gives it that little like stitched look right there. So we're just going to go ahead and add that to the front of our card. Very easy, very quick. All right. Put that down, get that base ready. Now to the inside, I'm going to the stamp, hope you're back on your feet soon. Hope you're back on your feet soon. Is this it? Yep, that's the one. Okay. And again, I'm just going to stamp this in our Memento Tuxedo Black. Okay. Easy peasy, right? Nothing too hard there. All right, now I have a piece of Whisper White that is, this is 4 by 2.5, and this is 3 3/4 by 2 1/4. So I'm going to take that adorable little turtle who's all upside down, the poor guy. And again, we're going to stamp him in our Memento Tuxedo Black. Okay. So now we have him. So now I'm going to use my, I think I used my Mango Melody, my Mossy Meadow, and my Granny Apple Green. So here's all you got to do. You can just color with these right as they are. So I just took it and I just started coloring in right around the little guy's face. You don't have to go everywhere because remember, we're going to go back over this with a blender pen. So we'll get that color to blend. But I just want to lay down a little bit of color. And again, a very light touch. You don't want to go too heavy because you don't want to get too much of that chalk dust on there. But we're just going to do his little legs, his little feet. We're going to do kind of around the big squares on his shell. This is a little bit more tricky, but we're going to persevere. Okay, and again, you don't have to lay down a lot of color because the blender pen will come back and take care of a lot of that white space. All right, now we're going to come in here with our Granny Apple Green, and we're going to go ahead and get these bigger green spaces, make that a lighter green, just to have a little bit of fun with it and add a little pop of color. Again, this is it's a great way to use these pastels. And then I'm just going to come back here with our, wipe off my fingers, with our Mango Melody, and I'm just going to kind of color his belly in with the Mango Melody. All right, get a little bit there. Okay, so it doesn't look so great right now, right? But we're going to fix it. We're going to come back in. All right, so now I've got a blender pen. Do I have a piece of scrap paper? Let me get a piece of scrap paper, because you know that's how you clean your blender pens. Oh, look at that. Got to get all that poppy parade off. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go for this Mango Melody, and I'm just going to smooth it out. And that also helps get rid of some of that pastel chalk dust. But you see how it fills in? You can fill in all the white space. It's all good. There he goes. Ooh, cute, right? Okay. Now let's go. We'll do the Mossy Meadow next. And again, we'll just color in his little feet, his little face. And you see it fills in all of that white space that we had left. It's all going to blend it in nicely. Okay. Again, you don't have to go too much, just enough to cover up. And we're going to go kind of around these bigger green ones with the Granny Apple Green. So my registration for my July class featuring the Sweet Ice Cream Stamp Set and Punch is open. It's on my Facebook page under events. You can register. And also I'll be opening the registration for my August Stampin' Retreat. So that'll be a lot of fun, and that will feature the Beauty of the Earth. Unless it goes on back order, then I'll have to regroup. But as of now, that's my plan. All right. Oh, I forgot a little bit there. Okay, and there's our little turtle. He's all done. Maybe just try to get a little bit, and if you want, you can pick up a little bit of color like that. I'm going to go right there and just kind of get a little bit more around the shell. Pick up a little bit more color. Okay, that's good. I don't want to do too much. So that's our little guy, and we're just going to add a little sigh on the front of him. And that'll be it. So again, these were really quick and easy. They didn't take long, and I think you'll really like playing with the new pastels, because I know I sure did. So I'm going to add this to a piece of So Saffron. Even though that's Mango Melody, I wanted the softer So Saffron. So, and I kind of think it almost looks like soft saffron. I know they say it's Mango Melody on the box, but it doesn't appear very Mango Melody-ish to me. But that's the official color. Let me close up that lid. Let me see. There it is. Because you know me, I'm a slob when it comes to my ink. All right, just going to pop this on with some dimensionals. And card number 2 is done. But I really encourage you, if you haven't looked at the pastels, I really encourage you to go ahead and give them another look. I believe they're on page 126 in the catalog, where they have like all the sets of things, like the sets of markers and all that good stuff. And there you have it. Those were our 2 cards for tonight, folks. I think they are a good example of what you can do with our pastels. Again, here's another example of what you can do. This was on watercolor paper, and I just saturated the paper and then just colored with each one of the colors. And this is that new Christmas stamp set for the tree is from that. I forget what it's called. Evergreen, what is it called? Evergreen Elegance? That's the new one of the new Christmas stamp sets in the catalog. So I kind of like that. And I thought that just looked really good for like a nighttime forest scene. And then, of course, just to show you the difference again, right? This was done with just our classic stamp pads. This was done with our classic stamp pads. This one was done with our blends. And these two were done with our pastels. Again, all the same colors. This is all Poppy Parade, Mango Melody, and Mossy Meadow. This was done with Versamark and a sponge dauber, and this was done with just the chalk dust, as I call it, and a blender pen. So again, you can get different, really different looking colors depending upon which coloring tool you choose to work with. So you can go from the very dark, vibrant, all the way down to the very light, soft look. All right, that's it for me tonight. Is it possible to refill the blender pens? I've been told it is, Patricia. I don't know, though. I would have to do some research. Let me look into that, and I will post a comment below with the answer. Will that work? Okay, so there you have it. Those are the different colors with the different coloring mediums. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Stampin' with Crafty Klock. I'll be back next Thursday at 7:30. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye.